If you're new to the podcast community and you want to start a new podcast and you're looking for a platform that is user friendly, that has everything you need at your fingertips, that won't set any limits, that you can earn money, then I would recommend Anchor. Now, Anchor can be used basically anywhere. You could be in your car, you can be laying on the sofa in bed where you can edit, record, and upload. You can throw in soundtracks. Everything is there for you. Now, I use it because, it's user friendly and it is free, and I find it really easy to navigate without it being very confusing. Now, most platforms, before you can even try it out, you need to sign up and pick a plan. I like Anchor because I don't have to go through any of that. So I recommend it. Now, if you really want to get into it, I recommend you going to your website, anchor.fm, and signing up, or you can download anchor.fm from the Google Store, iTunes, and give it a try. So don't forget to go to anchor.fm, sign up, and I'll see you all in the podcast community. Hi, and welcome to What the Paranormal. God, I like that name. With your homegirl Denise, or aka Miss Hyde. Now, this week's episode is about the state of California. Yay! It is the 12 most haunted places in California. Why I do California? Because I live in California, and I wanted to share a couple of supposedly haunted locations. Now, some of these places I've personally been to. Some are supposedly legends. So, I will try to leave the links below so you can go check it out, or you can look up the locations and read more about it. When people think about California, the first thing that comes to your mind is usually sunshine, sometimes earthquakes, but sunshine, Hollywood, and the beaches. But, however, the Golden State has a much darker side, and it is home to some of the most haunted locations in the country, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk about the Glen Tavern Inn in Santa Paula, California. Now, the Glen Tavern Inn was built in 1911 in an Old English Tudor style. It's a beautiful building. Don't get me wrong. It's a very beautiful building, but it does have an ugly past. The history is rich and colorful, but like I said, it has an ugly past. It has a lot of dark and seedy moments to it. It is a fascinating building that once was frequented by stars who, at one point, the building fell into hard times after the Prohibition. And the third floor of the building became a speakeasy, a brothel, and a gambling den. It is said that's where majority of the paranormal activity is reported. Now, one of the famous hot spots is room 307, which is said to be haunted by two ghosts, a cowboy named Calvin and a prostitute. Now, Calvin is described as being a tall, thin, wearing a white shirt man, sporting long hair and a goatee. He's said to be seen walking through walls and is often captured in photographs taken by guests. Um, Frequent Hollywood stars that have visited this location, just to give you a few ideas: John Wayne, Harry Houdini, Steve McQueen, Clark Gable. The inn had 36 beautiful, gorgeous, finished guest rooms and suites, jacuzzi rooms, junior suites, romantic rooms, king size beds, jacuzzi tubs for two. It is, there isn't really much on the prostitute, but they said that she was murdered and beheaded. Her body was left in the closet for one unfortunate maid to find. Mist has been seen, as well as voices, sudden cold chills, and knocks. There is an apparition of a child seen running through the corridors. A couple reported what they believed to be a real young girl walking into their room, which happened to be 2:05 in the middle of the night. Workers say during the renovation they saw a young girl running down the corridors and through a wall. The sound of young children laughing, running up and down the stairs, and knocking on doors can be heard in the hallways. Number 2 is East 8 Mile Road in Stockton, California. Now, one of the most haunted sites in California is not a building, but it's a stretch of road. East 8 Mile Road, to be exact. It is said that there is a spirit of a witch who appears on the road. Many heavy good vehicle drivers, transporting your fruits and your vegetables, that kind of drivers, reported to see a scary woman in a tattered white dress standing in the middle of the road. Legend states that if you turn around to take a second look, the phantom then will be sitting in the back seat of your vehicle. It is also said that there is a Native American girl wandering the road at night on the night of the full moon, and locals say that she can be heard screaming at night. So many paranormal fans have gone to this stretch of road and caught a lot of noise and a lot of voices in their EVPs. So you got a Native American girl screaming at night, and you got a crazy ass witch who will appear in the backseat of your car. Let's add that to my bucket list. So I gotta go check that out. Now here, number 3 is a famous location. It's been in movies. It's been on ghost hunting shows. It is the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose. The Winchester House is, now I'm just going to give you a brief idea. You can Google it because there's a lot of shit on the Winchester House, and so I'll just give you a synopsis. The Winchester Mystery House is one property that certainly lives up to fearsome reputation. Construction began in 1884, and it really never stopped until Sarah Winchester passed away in September of 1922. It is believed that she spent around $5 million to construct the house. She believed, or she was convinced, let's not say believed, she was convinced that the home was haunted by all the victims that were killed by the Winchester rifle, and the only way to quiet the spirits was to keep building. Now, Sarah may well have been correct, because since the mansion was opened to the public in 1923, staff and visitors have reported several mischievous spirits in the building. Now, Sarah inherited more than like 20 million from her husband's death and earned about 1,000 per day from the Winchester Repeating Arms Company. The original house was about 7 stories high, but was reduced to 4 because of the 1906 earthquake. It had roughly about 160 rooms, 2 ballrooms, 40 bathrooms, 47 fireplaces. The house is popular for its stairways and doors that lead to nowhere. Back in the time, the house was the only one which had indoor plumbing and hot showers. Although the reason for the house's construction was not only bizarre, Sarah Winchester did not spare any amount to ensure that the house was beautiful. It had adornments from the Tiffany Co. and some objects in the house that were designed specifically for her. On her death, Sarah's possessions were given to her personal secretary and her niece. Her niece took everything she liked and sold the rest to private auction. 6 trucks worked 8 hours a day for 6 weeks to remove the furniture in the house. There is no mention of the mansion in Sarah's will, and it was sold in auction in 1923. Harry Houdini toured the house back in the day. So if you know nothing about the Winchester house, you have stairways that go up and stop. You have doors that open and there's a wall behind the door. So this is on my bucket list also to go visit. Los Coches Adobe en Soledad. Now, Los Coches, or Coches, I'm Spanish speaking and I still can't pronounce it. Might be one of the most terrifying places in California. In the early days, the site was a mine, and however, one horrific accident caused over 30 mine workers to be trapped in a collapse. Although most of them lost their lives, it did leave a stain on that land. So it is little wonder that this place is haunted. So you have a mine, people died, leaves an imprint. You got ghosts. Locals and visitors alike have heard screams of the trapped miners emanating from the old well on the property, and there are numerous reports of a lady in black and a male phantom walking around the grounds. Some even claim to have seen the ghost of a man hanging from a tree and the boundary of the property. That sounds interesting. I might go look at that myself. Bucket list. So our next location was going to take us up north to a beautiful island surrounded by water. And I am talking about Alcatraz in San Francisco. Now, there are a few structures in this world that are infamous, like Alcatraz. Prisons have often been known for restless spirits, and Alcatraz is no different. Now, this is a former high-security prison, and it's more likely to be haunted given the conditions were like when it was in operation, with a couple, 100 dangerous criminals housed within the walls. Now, the entire building is soaked in fear, regret, anger, pain, and death. A perfect recipe for restless souls and a whole bunch of dark entities. Now, the prison is like a breeding ground for the paranormal. One of the most feared presence on the island is known as simply as the Thing. The Thing. That scared me. He was like, oh yeah, there is the Thing on this island, and he scares the shit out of you. Yeah, I'd probably be scared too. This entity is said to have red glowing eyes. Here we go with the glowing eyes. It has been seen not only by the visitors today, but by prisoners and staff that were working at Alcatraz when it was operational. Now imagine if you're a prisoner and you're in your cell and it's lights out and all of a sudden you see these red eyes looking at you. Hell no, there's no way to get out. You can scream, you can yell, but they're not going to let you out. Damn. That's bad. Other common reports detail disembodied voices, sobbing, screams, banging of cell doors. The banging of cell doors I've heard when I went to investigate the Idaho State Penitentiary. And I heard, well, that's for a different episode, but banging of cell doors, putrid smells, some say indicating demonic presence. Now they have had visitors experience being touched, feeling cold spots, emotional outbursts of either sadness or anger. Some have even said that they encounter apparitions who have spoken to them of abuse at the hands of the guards and other inmates. Now, a little bit more about this. Sorry, I'm skimming through a couple of the... there was an incident in part of the prison which is referred to as the cell. It's the cell block D, where inmates who tried to break rules were kept. They were stripped naked, held in cold cell, where they had access just the basic. Mattress was the only given at night and promptly taken away in the morning. A guard was reported there, a figure haunting the block. The apparition had been seen numerous times and by several people who have claimed to have been attacked by a man with glowing eyes. The Thing. On one occasion, a prisoner screamed and claimed that he was being attacked all throughout the night. Again, the guards ignored him, thinking he was just hallucinating. After screaming for some hours in the night, he finally went silent. When the guards opened the cell in the morning, they found him dead and visible handprints on his throat. Psychics have visited the prison and reported cold spots, sudden emotional outbursts while in the building, apparitions that claim they have been abused, and other traces which point to ghosts and spirits unrested. So, let me add that one to my bucket list. We're going to be going there. Now, the next one we're going to be discussing is very local to where I live. I've been on this particular vessel. It did serve in World War II. It was called, I believe, the Grey Ghost at that time. It transported soldiers and it transported soldiers, and I believe it was a hospital too, what I remember. So let's talk about the Queen Mary Hotel in Long Beach, California. Now, the Queen Mary is the most recognized as not only the most most haunted places in the state, but the most haunted hotel in the world. A former ocean liner permanently docked in the beautiful city of Long Beach. It's right next to the Aquarium of the Pacific, and that's another beautiful place to go take a look at. Just, throwing it out there, people. The ship is incredibly haunted, and you don't even know where to start with the documenting of the strange events that occurred. So let's touch a couple points here. First class swimming pool, said to be haunted by two female spirits who have drowned in the 30s and the 60s. They've both have seen as apparitions, and psychics have said that they feel a negative presence coming from the changing rooms. There are also reported a lady in white in the Queen's Salon. or salon, and a man in 1930s attire in the first class suites, and sounds of children playing near the storage room. Um, let's see. During World War II, the Queen Mary ended up slicing through her escort ship. However, under strict orders, the Queen Mary was not permitted to stop for survivors. More than 300 men drowned because of the incident, and it is said that these drowning men could be heard pounding on the walls and asking for help and rescue. A cook was also killed in the ship's kitchen when troops did not like his cooking. His ghost still to be heard screaming in the oven where his body was hidden. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Let's see. The Queen Mary offers guests to go the chance about the history. Let's see. It's 314 rooms, 9 suites, 305 staterooms. Let's see. In 1966, the Queen Mary was announced that was for sale. And in 1972, 1993, the Queen Mary reopened with 125 rooms available for guests. In 93, the remainder 365 was open after they did all the remodeling and everything. She has a rich history. It was once an ocean liner in 36. During the war, it served its country as a troop ship. Again, called it the Grey Ghost. On her 6th round trip voyage, she won the Blue Ribbon for being the fastest ship to cross the North Atlantic. In 38, the Queen Mary arrived in New York, and in 43, it carried the greatest number of people in a floating vessel. And in 54, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother Queen Mother, was on board. So, if you haven't been to the Queen Mary, I do recommend going to the Queen Mary. It is docked, but this place is seriously haunted. There are a couple rooms that are permanently closed because they're too active. You can't go into them. Again, this one's been on a lot of the paranormal shows. So, yeah, I would recommend this one. This one I've been to personally. Mission San Miguel in San Miguel, California. Now, the story behind the Mission San Miguel is certainly very intriguing. The mission was founded in 1797. Sold to the Reed family in 1846 for $250. The mission was set up as a bed and breakfast, which required payment in gold. Again, this was the height of the gold rush in California. It's said that they believe that there's buried treasure worth $200,000 at that time. So, you boast that, the owner boasts that to the wrong people, you end up dying. In 1848, British privates were staying at the mission, and they learned about the gold and ended up killing the mission, slaughtering out everybody at the mission. They never found the gold and soon executed for their crimes. Somewhere between 10 and 13 people were murdered that night, and they say that this place is haunted because you can hear a lady in white, believed to be the wife of Mr. Reed, a man in blue peacoat who was Mr. Reed. So whoever was staying at the bed and breakfast on the night of the massacre ends up being haunting there. So, I don't know if I'd go see this place, but let's see. Next one is the Colorado State Bridge in Pasadena. Now, this bridge is famous on many levels. It's also known as a suicide bridge. Um, Colorado State Bridge is a beautiful structure, but it has a dark side. It's known locally by its nickname, the Suicide Bridge. There is a usually high number of suicides here. Now, they've put some barriers and some stuff up to try to stop the suicides from happening, but I hate to say it, but if you're gonna jump, you're gonna find a way to do it. So, yeah, that's a little dark there. Um, I've thought about that bridge many a times in my time. There is an unusually high number of suicides there. The latest figure was about 102, but the number grew. The bridge was built in 1913 and claimed its first death in 1919. So that's a rate of more than one suicide per year. However, some of the official numbers are not actually accurate because the local authorities um, are known to like drop the number if it's too high, which actually sucks, but you know. As you might expect, given the death toll, the bridge is also incredibly haunted. There are many reports of a man jumping off the railing but vanishes before hitting the water. There is also fairly common to see female apparition crossing the bridge. Drivers often swerve to avoid her, which I have. I've seen that. I was driving. My friend lives close to the suicide bridge, and I was taking a shortcut to get to a street, and I saw this lady cross the street, and I had to like brake really good, and you hear the screeching because, well, yeah, that's a different story, but I've seen that. Some have suggested not only could spirits be trapped there due to the nature of the passing, but because of authorities have been denied their existence and they've been jipping the numbers. But on a side note, Suicide Bridge, um, it has a lot of energy. There's a lot of sadness. There's a lot of anger. There are a lot of people who do, Ouija boards there to try to communicate. I know a couple of people who, opened something and couldn't get it closed, and stuff went to hell. So, like I said, this is not the nicest bridge. It has a dark history, and if you or anybody you know has or plans of suicide, please, there's a suicide prevention line. Um, have them contact them. You know, I know how it feels to go through that, and I am always available to listen. I'm throwing that out there. Been there, attempted it. So Suicide Bridge is no joke. Seriously, no joke. Next location is the Oakwood Cemetery in Claremont, California. Now, this location has a terrifying reputation. Don't know why. There are all sorts of reports of small gray apparitions running around the cemetery in the hours of darkness. Some witnesses say that the apparitions are prone to attacking people. Bucket list, I want to go see this. I want to go experience this. We're going to go do this. There's not a lot of information on this particular cemetery, so I'm just going to read you what I found. There have also been countless sightings of shadow men lurking on the burial grounds. Visitors have captured strange light anomalies on their cameras. Some say a tall winged apparition walks down the driveway that leads to the cemetery. Like I said, not a lot of information, but this is going to be on my bucket list, and I'm going to go check this out. Now, the amusement park. It's supposed to be the happiest place on earth, but it's hell on earth. I hate this place. I hate it with a passion. Too many children running around screaming all that happy-go-lucky music. Bah, humbug. Next place we're going to talk about is Disneyland in Anaheim, California. Now, they really don't have much to say, but this is what they say. It may be known as the happiest place on earth, told you so, but Disneyland in Anaheim has its haunted secrets. There are lots of tales of animatronics moving when the rides are turned off, and apparently it is tradition for some families to scatter ashes of their loved ones, without the permission, of course, on their favorite rides, Pirates of Caribbean and the Haunted Mansion. Why would you want people to be your ashes at Disneyland? Why? Why? I want to know. Now, apparently, custodians have been discovering ashes, bone fragments, even a jawbone in the park for years now. There are also real human bones used in the decor for the Pirates in the Caribbean ride. Now, I don't even know if that's true or not, but that's what it says, so go with it. There are several ghost sightings around the park, including Mr. Walt Disney himself, who've been seen in his former apartment above the fire station on Main Street. Don't know where that is and don't care. Sightings of various spirits believed to be people who either died in the park or have had their ashes scattered in the park. What a place to be when you die. Next location is the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel in LA. Now, the outside of this place looks like shit by old standards, but let's see what it says. One of the most haunted places in Southern California, is one of the most iconic hotels in the state. The Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel played host to some of the big names since opening its doors in 1927, and some say there are a few of those stars that have stuck around. Now, one of the hotel's most famous ghosts is claimed to be Marilyn Monroe. Who knows? She has been appearing in the mirror in room 229 and is seen as dancing in the hotel's ballroom. We don't know for a fact. However, she's not the only famous spirit to haunt the hotel. There has also been reports of actor Montgomery Clift's ghost haunting room 928, which he occupied while he was filming From Here to Eternity in 1953. Again, never been to this hotel. My high school prom was held at that hotel, and I did not go to my high school prom. Annoyed people, but hey. Finally, I've talked about this one in my Haunted San Diego bit, but it is part of California, so we're going to talk about it right now. And we're talking about the Whaley House in San Diego, California. Now, the Whaley House, if you want to know more about this, you can go to Haunted San Diego and hear that. But the Whaley House in San Diego, California, has a reputation of being one of the most scariest haunted places in Southern California. It was built by Thomas Whaley, and over the years it served as a general store, a greenery, a theater, and the town's courthouse. It was at a morgue at one point and had built over a cemetery. Yeah, no wonder it's haunted. You're built over a cemetery. Now, a number of suicides and hangings have been taking place in the property. The most two common cited spirits were include a young girl who had died in an accident while playing with the Whaley children, Yankee Jim Robinson,
who hung himself on the property, and the Whaley family themselves. Now, I've been here. I took the tour with my sister and her brother and my brother-in-law and my husband. Uh, I felt touched. I felt that I was being watched. I felt like I was being followed. I was groped. So, this place, yeah, this place is up there. It is up there with being touched and all that other stuff. So, don't forget to subscribe, help get this podcast noticed. And those that do and are subscribed, thank you very much. I appreciate you listening to me ramble on about the paranormal and all the other unique stuff I want to share. I don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere else that you hear your podcasts on. And if you have any questions, don't forget to email them in paranormalbuzzfeed@gmail.com. Still working on the listener episodes. Any comments, questions, concerns, drop me a line and we'll go from there. Again, Suicide Bridge is not a joke. If you know anybody that is suicidal or has tendencies, please let them know to reach out to the suicide prevention line. They can text, they can call, they don't want to talk, they can text. I usually text them. I'm not much of a talker on the phone. Texting's a lot easier for me, and I've used the texting to the suicide prevention about 3 times already. So I do urge you, if you know somebody who's going through some dark shit, reach out to them, provide them the information. We want everybody to stay safe, and there is help out there. We just need to provide that information out there. So, with that being said, that was our episode for the day. I hope you all enjoyed this haunted California, and don't forget to keep it ghosting. See you all next week.